You might think that you'd want to start with a sphere, and you could do that, but I'm going to actually start with a cube with the idea that I'm going to be smoothing it in the end. It just gives me a little bit more control over the shape and the topology of it. It's a little bit simpler to work with. So I'm going to start with a cube. Let's bring it up into position. And I'm just going to use the handles to size it appropriately. So come in here from the side, and come in here from the front. And then we need to add a little bit of resolution to this to begin to shape it. So in the segments, let's add a few in the X, maybe 4. I want to make sure that there's one running right down the center. In the Y, I'm going to increase those. We'll add a few more of those because it's covering more distance. We can add more as we go along, but we just want some to get started with. And then in the Z, let's add a few going in this direction. So add 3 there. I think 3 is going to be a good starting point. I don't want to add too many because then it's going to be really hard to get away from the squared off shape. But if we add just a few, that allows us to be able to work with just the polygons that are here. So let's go ahead and make this editable. And then just to simplify things a little bit, let me go ahead and delete half of this. So go ahead and grab half of those polygons, delete them, and then I'm going to go to the points and optimize those. And then we can start to manipulate the shape of this. So we can start by going to one of the views here, and I can come in and start to move some of these points around. And I'll kind of move that down a little bit. Okay, so just kind of add a little bit of shape to this. Again, just from the one angle. And the points up here, we're going to kind of move back to get this rounded off shape. Sorry about that. And then come down here. And just pull these points in so that it matches a little bit better with our art. Here we'll kind of pull this up a bit. Now we need to do the same thing from the side. Don't worry about the eyes just yet. And don't move the points that are sort of in the middle. You can start to bring this up. And now at some point we're going to have to come in from the perspective and start to soften this out. So what we want to do is we want to take these edges and sort of round off the squareness of it. So for instance, just take these corner bits, pull that back and over. Okay, start to kind of round things off a little. We'll do the same thing down here. Kind of take that forward and in. Take these bits up here, kind of pull those down a little. So you can see we can really start to round this off, but you want to take the time to do that because otherwise it'll kind of stay squared off and you'll get kind of a square shaped head. And so we want to make sure to grab these points and just make sure to round off basically all the corners of it. And down here where the kind of bottom of the neck, we can also kind of bring that up. Okay, so you just want to come in and there are, there's not a lot of points here, so it's easy to come in now and kind of just make sure that it's in the right spot. You can also use brush. So let's go in here and grab the brush. I've just got it set to smooth. We can come in along these corners, and if you want to increase the strength, you can do that. And so we can come in here and just along those corners kind of smooth things out. Remember, don't really touch the the interior where it's, we've got that line for the symmetry. But just kind of round things off here. You can see we've got these points down here that need to be kind of rounded off. Okay, so we get something like that. So let's get to that point. Okay, and if you want to use, if you want to come in here with instead smear and come in and sort of move things around, if you feel like that'll help a little bit, you can do that too. Kind of come in from the side. Okay, maybe kind of pull this back to create more of the head shape that we see in the drawing. So get something like that. Okay, now we got the rough overall shape, but we don't really have any of the topology built in to create things like the mouth or the eyes and things like that. So let's go ahead and begin to manipulate the actual flow of edges.